In this video, we would like to share with you some useful points of Oppo Find X7 Ultra for your consideration in choosing a smartphone to fit your demand. Please enjoy watching the video as following. The Pro has gone Ultra in Oppo's lineup this year. The ultimate smartphone in the roster is now called the Find X7 Ultra. We understand the name change to imply there's more to this find than simply incrementing on the usual bits, and where else would we find the truly new stuff, if not the camera system? Indeed, Oppo fitted a second telephoto camera, technically still a +1 operation, but a vastly more tangible one than the newer chipset, for example. The Find X6 Pro's camera hardware was already cutting edge, but more reach is never a bad thing, and the X7 Ultra's second telephoto camera brings 6x zoom, with a 50MP sensor nonetheless. But it's not only about reach, since this camera is also good for close-ups, and an update to that effect has made it to the 3x periscope as well. Oppo specifies the minimum focusing distance at 35 cm and 25 cm. The primary camera was already at a 1-inch type sensor, so there is not much to improve there, though Xiaomi is now on a second-generation Ultra with changeable aperture on its 1-inch main camera, while the Find is stuck at f/1.8. The ultra-wide is a bit of a sidestep, where the new model loses some sensor size but gains extra coverage. Naturally, we'll be digging deeper into the camera system later in the review. We mentioned the chipset upgrade, and it's the Snapdragon 8 Gen 3 in charge, in contrast to the vanilla X7 that gets the big core-only Dimensity 9300, also found on the Vivo X100 and X100 Pro. Memory configurations start at 12 GB of RAM and 256 GB of storage and peak at twice the storage and 16 GB of RAM, nothing too crazy. Similarly restrained is Oppo's approach to battery capacity. The X7 Ultra remains at 5000 mAh, while a few of its relatives have gotten some extra mAh this year. No change can be a good thing too, like, for instance, the 100W charging capability. There's one particular development that we would have loved to see this time, but sadly Oppo had different plans. The Find X7 Ultra will remain exclusive to its home market, much like the X6 Pro. Oh, well. Competition. The Find X7 Ultra makes it easy for us to find its competitors. The Ultra in the name narrows down the search quite nicely, even if some makers haven't adopted that particular term for the bestest they've got. The Find's China-only release does make this more of a theoretical exercise, though perhaps there will be the select few who'll be choosing the adventurous route of bringing an X7 Ultra to the West. Let's start with the Xiaomi 14 Ultra that we've barely seen and not really tested, but know to be a camera phone to be reckoned with. Last year's Xiaomi Ultra was among our favorite camera phones, and the 2024 version adds close focusing to its telephotos, yes, 2 of them, as befitting an Ultra, and features a changeable aperture on its 1-inch primary camera. Not only is it brighter than the Find's, but it can also close down for extra depth of field. We're eager to do a head-to-head between these two when Xiaomi shows up, but we know it's going to have the upper hand in one key area, a global firmware. Also international is the Vivo X100 Pro, giving it a solid head start in a comparison against the Find. We'd give the nod to the Find for overall cameraphone-ness. The Vivo enters this bout one telephoto camera short. It's a relatively close call still, and it may not necessarily be enough of an advantage against the otherwise great Vivo to outweigh the first point. The Vivo scores a couple of other small victories, like the slightly longer battery life, particularly if you alternate your photo shoots with gaming sessions, and the brighter display. Ultimately though, we think this will be decided on the software front. Not all of us are exactly fans of FunTouch either, and how easy it is to get the Vivo versus the Find in your particular neck of the woods. That last consideration is settled easily with the Galaxy S24 Ultra, that one you can buy essentially everywhere. It's got all the software features you can think of and won't be asking you things in Chinese, plus there's the S Pen for yet more potential usefulness. The Galaxy has a nicer display, and less, graininess at low brightness, and sort of longer battery life, but the Oppo charges faster. And if we go back to what the Find X7 Ultra is, first and foremost, we tend to like its camera slightly better overall. Honor has made strides to occupy the high-end camera phone void left on the global market by Huawei, and the Magic 6 Pro is not a half-bad photography tool. Its single telephoto camera can almost pass for two cameras, battery life is longer than the Find's and the display is brighter. That, and the Magic's global software, of course. Then again, the Find remains a winner for overall camera experience, and isn't that what's most important here? Conclusion. The Find X7 Ultra has us in a bit of a pickle. It has a few shortcomings that we'd label minor, roughly 10% shorter battery life than the competition, no enthusiasm for screen brightness records, none of those being real deal-breakers. The one major problem with it, however, is that we can't have it, not officially, and not with an entirely smooth software experience. Oppo has once again chosen to limit its availability to China, with a ColorOS build tailored for that. Which is unfortunate because it's quite an amazing camera phone. Short of a somewhat out-of-place ultra-wide, we'd be hard-pressed to find any serious fault with its cameras, in terms of results and overall experience. The 1-inch main unit is superb, the telephotos are great for distant and nearby subjects alike, the low-light photos are excellent, and even the video recording doesn't leave us wanting. Since we all like our cameras here, the Find X7 Ultra is probably what quite a few of us would be carrying, if money was no object and software didn't get in the way. But with the Chinese software somewhat getting in the way, we can't fully embrace it. We understand, though, that your priorities may have a different balance, so hopefully, you've been able to find your answers on the previous pages. Pros. One of the best camera systems to date. Unique premium design. Charging is faster than key rivals. Cons. China-only official availability, software that reflects that. Battery life slightly behind the curve. Ultra-wide camera is a bit of a downgrade. Thank you for watching. See you next videos.